It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the two movies released on Friday the 13th of 2008. We are in the summer movie season, and so we have two blockbuster films here, including M. Night Shyamalan with his first R-rated movie. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and take a look at the biggest new release of the weekend, The Incredible Hulk. This is also a film that had a lot of production problems in general. Edward Norton came on board, and he was basically rewriting the script on the set each day, and they kept changing various aspects of the movie, adding dialogue, additional scenes, similar elements to the TV show for the character development, and, he would go uncredited as a screenwriter on here, and that eventually led to him not coming back after this, and of course then being replaced by Mark Ruffalo. Which, I mean, honestly, yeah, it definitely worked out in the film's in the Hulk's best interest, because Mark Ruffalo's Hulk has turned out to be a pretty good character overall. But what about this movie here? Does the movie work as a whole? Well, let's talk about it. Depicting the events after the Gamma Bomb, The Incredible Hulk tells the story of Bruce Banner, played here by Edward Norton, who seeks a cure to his unique condition, which causes him to turn into a giant green monster under emotional stress. Whilst on the run from military, which seeks his capture, Banner comes close to a cure, but all is lost when a new creature emerges, the Abomination, who's played by Tim Roth. And right off the bat, the movie helps to redeem the Hulk to his badassness. And I remember seeing this the first time and thinking, yeah, fuck that last Hulk movie. This is the Hulk we've been waiting for. With this movie, we get everything we want to see from a Hulk movie. You get a mix of the badass Hulk kicking ass and taking down the bad guys, while also throwing in a very good dramatic story that was actually necessary to tell the story. The problem with Ang Lee's Hulk film was that he went too art house with it. He wasn't the right guy to direct that movie. I mean, we're seeing a lot of those problems nowadays with a movie where, you get a big blockbuster and then somebody comes in and says, "Hey, let's bring in this small independent filmmaker who just made a film that just got a lot of awards recognition. Let's bring him into this, and clearly he'll know what to do." That doesn't always work all the time, and Marvel's been notorious as of late for doing that, with Eternals, and just recently with Captain America: Brave New World. One of the other examples is Twisters, where they brought in the director of Minari to direct that movie, and that film didn't turn out very well. This time around, they got a guy in Louis Leterrier, who's directed more action movies. He did the Transporter movies, and he's much more in line with how to make this work in general here. And I think this one manages to bridge the gap between the problems of the Ang Lee Hulk movie and just makes it stand out on its own because of the way they balance the action and the dramatic moments. You can have the emotional moments where the story takes over and you have characters talking about their problems, while you can also have the badass action sequences. And I think this film does a very good job of handling that. I think the casting overall is great. Edward Norton would have made a really good Bruce Banner overall if they had kept him around and he got what he wanted. I think Liv Tyler does a pretty good job as Betty Ross. William Hurt's really good as General Ross. I mean, this was a really good actor who played him. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. And I mean, yeah, I liked Harrison Ford in what he brought to the table with Ross in the recent Captain America movie. And Sam Elliott was one of the few things about the original Hulk movie that I thought was actually working. And Tim Roth makes a pretty good Abomination in here. I think he's a lot of fun in here. The effects overall are very good. You got the final 26 minutes of this action sequences, which is one of the most epic action-packed climaxes you'll ever see. Every bit of it is action-packed. It has a lot of great effects shots. I mean, the scene where Hulk is just taking these two police cars and turning them into boxing gloves, that's easily the most memorable moment of the entire movie to me. That was a great moment right there. And like I said, it has a lot of good dramatic set pieces, too, such as the scene where Hulk is protecting Betty from the lightning in the woods. That's a really good, effective scene, beautifully crafted, and the quieter moments of the film are very well done. It's a very good character story, too, about this guy who's trying to cure his problems here. And I think this film did a very good job of doing the best they could to bring the Hulk back to form following the disappointment of the Ang Lee film. There's a lot of good action, visuals, drama, comedy, and just all the things you need to make a good Hulk movie. And for the time, it was very good. And I think it still holds up very well to this day. But, of course, the Avengers would eventually lead into Mark Ruffalo coming into play. And I think they've done a good job of establishing that character more. Making him balance, his anger issues and making him still talk like the Bruce Banner that we know when he's not the Hulk, I think was a smart move on their part. That was one of the things I really liked about Endgame, and he's one of the things I like about the She-Hulk series, too. Even though I like the She-Hulk series much more than most people do. This is a really good movie, man. I still really enjoy this one a lot, and yeah, it didn't do the money that they thought that Iron Man was doing, but, it was very hard to have that same Iron Man type of feel, where the movie is literally coming 6 weeks after Iron Man came out. And I think that move to put Robert Downey Jr.'s post-credit sequence in the trailers was a last-minute ditched effort by Universal to try to save the film. I don't think it really did it in the end, per se, but the movie we got was pretty damn good regardless. I think it's a really well-made film. It's one I definitely highly recommend checking out. It's a really good movie. The Incredible Hulk. What more can you say, man? Really good movie. So, with all that said, on to the last one we have here. The most notably bad of the two movies that we have here. M. Night Shyamalan's first R-rated movie, and that is The Happening. Yeah, you tried to sell it that way, and yeah, it still didn't help this movie in the long run. This is a terrible movie, and it revolves around an inexplicable natural disaster causing mass suicides. What is it? We never know. All we know is that it's a new airborne neurotoxin, and how you're supposed to defend yourself from this, I have no idea. I don't even think the movie has an idea of what this thing is that's happening all around. It's just like people start randomly killing each other for reasons that are beyond anyone's consideration. I mean, this movie is an abysmally put together movie, and some people can see it as a B movie. Some people can say it's a so bad it's good movie. I can't do it, man. Like, this is a mess. This is an ungodly mess of a film that is trying to take itself way too seriously for something so ridiculous and so stupid. Like, M. Night Shyamalan can make that work. I think his later movies have definitely proven that he could take that formula and make it work. Trap, I thought, was a good so bad it's good movie. You know, Old was another good one. Knock at the Cabin. What was the other one he did? Not The Visit. I thought there was another one he did that was so bad it's good, but yeah, like Old, Knock at the Cabin, Trap, those are what I think of a good, so bad it's good movies from M. Night Shyamalan. This is a movie that just feels like there's just nothing there. Like, nothing about this movie makes any sense whatsoever. Everybody in this movie is so overacting their ass off, and it just makes people come off looking terrible. Like, I remember watching this for the first time and thinking, oh my god, this movie felt like Zooey Deschanel. I love Zooey Deschanel. I think Zooey Deschanel is a charming actress. She's very wonderful to watch. She can be funny. She can be a lot of things. I mean, she was great in Elf. She's great on New Girl. And here, she's literally a deer in headlights. She has one look throughout the entire movie, and that's dead silence. Like, it literally looks like this. That's literally her in this movie. She literally has nothing to do in this movie except look like a deer in headlights, and that's it. And there were people who did not like her because they felt like that was her acting overall. And this movie just basically kind of reinforces that stereotype, if you will. But yeah, the stuff about the bees and all that, like the lines in here are so badly put together. Like, yeah, my favorite one is my favorite thing, the one that made me go like, okay, this is clearly made by somebody who is socially inept. Is when, you know, they go to this greenhouse, and one of the guys one of the guys who owns the greenhouse is just like, you know, hot dogs get a bad rap. What? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, hot dogs get a bad rap? Like, who says that type of stuff to a normal human being? Nobody. Like, yeah, some people could see this as a comedy, some people could see it as a B movie, but I don't know, man. I just can't do it with this film, man. I mean, this thing is too stupid for its own good. Lady in the Water was a so bad it's good movie too. That's another one I could add in there because, yeah, like the scene with the kids talking about these prophecies while he's looking at these boxes of cereals. It's just like, come on, man. Like, that stuff where it can be like, that's hilariously bad. Nothing about this movie is hilariously bad. It's a boring movie. Nothing of interest happens in this film. Like, that trailer has more happening than the actual happening in the movie. And it's never explained what's going on at all. They never explain what happens. They never explain why it randomly stops. The movie just ends, and it's just like, oh, it's happening again. And what was it, London, I think it was? Paris. Paris, both in the same general area. But at the same time, it's just like, what's the point? What am I supposed to take away from this movie at all? Like, nothing happens in this movie. And yeah, I get it. There's going to be people that will like this as a so bad it's good movie, but I just can't do it, man. I have no intentions on ever watching this again. It's that bad of a movie. It's a waste of so many good, talented people. Mark Wahlberg, John Leguizamo. I mean, Dante from Clerks is in this movie, for God's sakes. Like, there's so many good names in this movie, and M. Night Shyamalan has done so much better than this, and this was just in the middle of that really, really bad streak he had, and hey, don't worry, he's got a sneak preview of his next abomination, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Somebody just got an Avatar backpack, and yeah, I think we all know how that turned out. If you haven't seen my worst movies of all time list, definitely check that one out, but yeah, I got nothing else for you, man. This thing is pretty bad. Like, this is a film that is so badly put together. It really felt like an M. Night Shyamalan that was just on fumes at this point. Like, his career was pretty much over and done with this film. I mean, this was a stretch where, yeah, anything he was doing it between 2004 and 2015, it just felt like he was on fumes and just had no idea what direction to take his career. And then he found it again with The Visit, and that film turned out very well. He then followed it with Split, Glass, Old, Knock at the Cabin, Trap. I mean, he's back in form again in terms of making entertaining films. But this was just nothing. Nothing was happening in this movie. No pun intended. Like, yeah, this is a bad movie. This is a terrible, terrible film. Avoid it like the plague. Or what am I going to tell you to do? If you think it's a fun B movie, have at it. It's a so bad it's good movie for you. I wish I could be in that same category with you folks out there, but I just don't see it. So yeah, a hard skip on The Happening for me personally. And so, with all of that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Then the next time we meet, we'll take a look at two big comedies opening up on the 20th of June of 2008. One a good one, one of the biggest pieces of garbage you will ever see. Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway starring in Get Smart, and also Mike Myers in his big return to live-action comedy and trying to return to form after The Cat in the Hat. And yeah, it didn't work out well like he wanted to. The Love Guru. So we'll take a look at both of those movies. That'll be coming up tomorrow on the show. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button. Check out the playlist on the next page, and check out our previous episode too. With all that said, I'm off. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.